everybody, and welcome to TEG Talks. Today I have the lovely Amber with me from Love at First Bite, and I'm going to grill Amber in the nicest possible way because I don't know you that well yet. I feel like in the next 20 minutes we might know each other a bit better. So, who's Amber? Tell me all about your business in a nutshell.
So, my name's Amber. I am about to turn 30 this year, and I first set up my business Love at First Bite about 3 years ago. So to begin with, I was just doing it on a part-time basis. So I had a full-time job as a wedding planner. And then when the pandemic hit, being a wedding planner was not the same job anymore. It became stress level 100. And I was doing my cakes on the side. So I basically started doing it whilst I was furloughed. So I was working from home a couple of days a week, and then I was doing the cakes kind of on the side. And during lockdown, because people couldn't go out and they couldn't have parties, they were like, right, we'll get a cake instead. So it spiralled out of control quite fast. And then when I did go back to work as a wedding planner, because it wasn't the same job anymore, and it was so stressful, and brides became very demanding and very stressed because obviously their weddings had been moved 2, 3, 4 times. I was doing a wedding every single day of the week, so I just felt like I was a wedding factory, and I didn't feel like I was able to give the same kind of energy and effort to everyone because it was just constant. It was really hard to keep on top of everything. I was driving an hour and a half to work every day to the venue I was based in Windermere. And I was just like, I don't think I can do this anymore. So I was leaving my house at say like 6 in the morning. I wasn't getting back till 8 o'clock at night. And then I was doing cakes till 2, 3 in the morning because I'd already started this off now. And I thought, I can't
keep
stop.
the momentum going.
I thought if I stop now, that's it. So I just made the decision to hand my notice in and do my business full time. It was a risk. I've never been self-employed before. My parents have a business, so they were obviously able to give me advice. But ultimately, I didn't really know what I was doing. So I just kind of went with it. One day I woke up and I was like, right, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to hand my notice in and I'm just going to see what happens. Because I thought it would be very nice to be my own boss and it would be very nice to get some kind of social life back. Because I was working every single weekend. I was exhausted. I lost loads of weight because I was just flying around all the time. I was waking up in the middle of the night thinking, what did that bride say? And I just thought, I don't think this is for me anymore.
No off button.
No,
I guess it just takes over.
Yeah, and I couldn't sleep because I was just like wired all the time thinking about everything. So yeah, I just took the leap and I decided to go for it. Like I said, I didn't know if it was going to be successful. You don't know when you do something like that. You've just got to try it and see what happens. Thankfully, it's gone really well. So I've been full-time self-employed for 1.5 years now.
Brilliant.
And so far, so good. So I cannot complain.
Awesome. And I can vouch that the cakes are good because I have sampled them.
And I didn't pay to say that.
No, I didn't. So how did you get involved with TEG? Did you stumble across us? Did Jenny come and find you?
I stumbled across Jenny. So it was something on Facebook that I saw about the young entrepreneurs markets that had started up in Whitehaven. So I think I just dropped her a message on Facebook and then we started emailing. I did my first, I think I did one of the very first markets and that was in August time. So it was quite a busy time. So it was quite a good time, school holidays and everything.
Get the tourists.
Yeah, all the tourists, all the children. And then the first market I ever did, I sold out in, I think about 2.5 hours, which I was not expecting. I didn't know how much to make because I just didn't know how it was going to go. And I didn't want to have loads of cakes and think, what am I going to do with all of these? So it was absolutely amazing. And then after that, I continued to do them every single month. And my sellout time was getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So there was one time I sold out in an hour.
It's not a bad problem to have, though, really.
No, it's not a bad problem, but then you think, I should have made more. But then you think, what if I make more and I don't sell it all? So you've just got to gauge it right. Yeah. So now I kind of know how much.
I was just going to ask you, do you think you've learnt over that time now?
Yeah, I've definitely learned how much to make. And so I set myself a target of obviously money. How much money do I want to make today? So I make enough to cover that and obviously just hope that it all goes.
Because there's no winning formula, is there?
There isn't, no. Because
people say to me, how do you do it? How much money do you make at this show? And how do you do it? And how do you keep doing it? And I'm like, if I had the winning formula, I wouldn't need to do a show because I'd be rich.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here right now.
No, and it's like, which show do you do? And how do you know this and how do you know that? I said, you've just got to have a go.
Yeah,
and try it.
Try it and see what happens. I mean, there has been times where it's been a slower day. So if it's absolutely, pouring it down, there's not as much footfall. So, you've not got as many people coming out to the shops because they don't want to get wet.
No.
So, on days like that, it can be slower. But I find if I, push it on my social media pages and just keep plugging it, obviously word gets round and you do get a lot of repeat customers coming back to you from that. So, and with the older generation, there's quite a lot of people that aren't on social media who still do come out into the town for the shopping. So I've got a lot of customers in that sense who wouldn't necessarily have known about me otherwise, because they're not on.
Well, that's the joy of face to face in the markets, isn't it? Because we've spoke before, and umpteen people who in business. Not everybody's on social media. We take it for granted. We automatically think everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on Instagram, and I still believe, especially where we're from and where we're based, that whole community aspect, face to face, word of mouth. You can't put a price on it.
Yeah.
And it's what kind of makes the wheels go around.
Yeah, and I've always had such a people-facing career. Obviously, being a wedding planner, it's a lot of talking, it's a lot of standing up in front of people. So it's nice to just have that interaction rather than just being in my kitchen all the time, just me making cakes all day.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get out and actually speak to people.
I touched on this subject with Kate, another guest from a previous episode, about people don't talk about how isolating self-employment can be because, like you, I'm in a studio all day, you're in a kitchen, and you're just maybe the only person you've spoken to is the dog, the mixer, the bag of flour, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's important that and I think there is that strong community with TEG and the markets, that we get out and we talk to people and things like that. So, have you had to diversify your business in any way? Have you just stuck to markets, or have you done anything different?
So I started off, tray bakes were always my favourite thing to do. So when I was at university, whenever there was an event on, I'd just, for the fun of it, make some cakes and just, sell a few, not making really any money from it, just because I enjoyed doing it. So I started off basically just offering tray bakes, and then I thought, right, I need something else now, once I kind of, mastered my recipes. So then I went on to the cupcakes, and because I already had my foot in the door with the wedding industry, I thought, right, I'm going to give wedding cakes a go. Now, they are stressful, and it is hard, and they've got to be perfect. And if they're not, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Stress.
So it is stressful, but it's nowhere near as stressful as actually running and planning a wedding.
I guess you're more in control, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you can, I suppose that's where your talent of the communication side of it is. You can coax a bride or groom or whatever into, well, do you think this might be more appropriate type thing?
And I think
it's easier for you.
I've got the wedding knowledge. I know how the day runs. I know timings and all that kind of thing. So I get a lot of wedding cake orders from the venue that I was based in. So I'm listed as their preferred supplier now.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So I know the venue inside out. I know the timings of the day. So it's less stress for the couple because they don't have to pester me what time you bring it. I just know what time it needs
you
to
can
be
already
there,
preempt
and
that.
I can just walk in the kitchen and put it in the fridge. Other suppliers can't do that because they don't have that relationship with the venue. So that's really nice in that sense. And a lot of the customers I've got at the moment, I actually initially showed them around the venue because they obviously were planning the wedding, say 3 years ago. So I've already built that relationship with them, which makes it a bit easier. They know the person behind the Facebook page or the Instagram page. They know who they're dealing with. Yeah. And I think that gives people quite a lot of confidence as well.
A bit more reassurance, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've heard it here first. If you're having a wedding at a specific venue in Windermere, Amber's your girl for a wedding cake because she knows how to get it done properly. No stress. So do you work with any other businesses, or do you aspire to work with any other businesses or companies like that with your product?
So from the help of TEG, I had the opportunity to do basically a talk at an event at Energous last year. And so basically I stood up in front of the auditorium and I just spoke about my business, and we did a bit of a Q&A so people from the audience could ask me questions and stuff. There was a lot of different businesses there, so it was obviously a great kind of free marketing platform for me. and I had a stall in the like entrance area.
Yeah.
So where people afterwards could come and buy my cakes as well. Off the back of that, I actually managed to become the supplier for Energous. So now I supply all of their cakes. So I do all the tray bakes for the cafe. And whenever they've got a big event on, I'll provide all of the desserts. So, for example, last Thursday, I did 300 cheesecakes.
Wow. That's
them.
a lot of cheesecakes.
And it was very hot last week.
Yeah.
So it was hard work.
Do you have like a mega fridge?
I've got about 10 fridges now. I keep having to buy more fridges. And I had to kind of make a batch, take them up for them to store because 300 is a lot to store.
Yeah.
I do have a separate cake kitchen in my house. So I've got a kitchen and a cake kitchen, and I was spread over them all. There was cake on every surface.
Next door neighbour, excuse me, can I borrow your fridge?
So that's the biggest order I've ever done. And obviously I am a one-man band, so it is hard work.
Yeah.
But I do like the corporate side of the cake business because it's consistent.
Yeah.
So obviously I've got a mortgage to pay, I've got bills to pay. It's nice to know that I've got, a set amount of money coming in every month, because being self-employed, sometimes you don't know what's coming in and out.
No, you don't.
And every month's different.
Yeah.
You'll have really, really busy times and you'll have really quiet times. So I always find, for example, the first week after Christmas, dead, because everyone's sick of food.
Yeah.
The last thing they want is a cake. Everyone's on a diet. So it's, you've got to, so I always try and take on extra work in December to cover
to keep you
January,
afloat
just
in
case.
Yeah.
But obviously now I've got a couple of contracts here and there. It's just nice to know that I've got that consistency.
So do they order from you like on a weekly basis? Do they tell you what they want and then?
Yeah, so I've got like a set order from Energous every single week. So I deliver to them on a Monday and a Thursday, and then on top of that, any events that I've got on, that's just extra. So sometimes they'll have like 3 big events a week, which is a lot.
Yeah.
But I make it work.
Yeah.
It isn't easy. It's absolutely not easy, and you're against the clock a lot of the time, because if they've got to serve dinner at 7 p.m, I need to have everything there sorted, ready to go. So sometimes it can be a little bit stressful. But
some good stress.
Good stress.
In a way.
Yeah, in a way. Not when it's 37 degrees in your kitchen, but...
No, you're literally having a meltdown. So how do you overcome that? So say, for instance, Energous get on the phone and go, actually, we've got an event as well as our regular supply. Because I'm thinking, that's a lot of cake. I bet our viewers and listeners are thinking, how does she manage it all on her own?
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, sometimes I do have to rope my mum in to do a little bit of boxing up. I'm like, right, mum, you do this. So that's good that I've got her available to come and help me. But for example, last week she was away, so I just had to be super organised. I had to manage my time really well because I had other orders as well. So I had like birthday cakes, wedding cakes. Last week was my busiest week on record ever. And I was kind of thinking to myself, why have I done this to myself? But you've just got to make it work. I've had many, 15-hour days, sometimes even longer. There's been times where I've started at 7 in the morning and I've still been there at 7 the next morning. But if you've got to get it done, you've got to get it done.
And that's where the passion lies, doesn't it? Because we've spoke in other episodes and to other business people about having that drive and determination and passion behind your business. And I think I personally believe that without them, I don't think you'd ever get anything off the ground.
No.
I don't know if you agree or...
No, I do completely agree. And I think a lot of people say, oh, it must be lovely, you're just making cakes, like in your kitchen at home all the time. But that's what you think. It's not just that. There's so much more to it, and it is really hard work. And obviously when you're self-employed, you don't get holiday pay.
Nope.
You don't get sick pay. So if you've got anything going on in your personal life and you're having a bad day, it's tough. You can't get someone to cover for you. You can't ring in sick. You've just got to carry on, and that can be really, really hard.
That's the harsh reality of it. Like you say, there's no somebody else to go, oh, can you sort 300 cheesecakes out for us or whatever. You've got to make it work. And sometimes, I don't know if you've experienced, have you ever had to say no because life's got in the way?
I've never said no. I've had to make slight changes, for example. So I had a really, really awful year last year in my personal life. And there was days where I just thought, I can't do this today. But then you've just got to pull yourself together and say, I'm going to get it done for you. I might be an hour late. but I will make sure that you've got it. Obviously, with weddings, it's a bit different because you are stuck to a time. If it's just a birthday cake or something, you know, a lot of customers are quite flexible. Oh, no problem, I'll just pick it up an hour later, whatever it might be. But when you know you've got to be at somewhere at a certain time, even if you are having a bad day, you've just got to do it, because I couldn't deal with the guilt of letting someone
I was just
down.
going to ask you, because if it was me, my conscience would take over.
Yeah.
And I know, like, friends, family would be like, just have a day off. And I'm like, no, I can't have a day off because I've got to deliver for this person.
You can't, you know, ring the bride on a wedding day and be like, I'm having a bad day today, so, you know, I'm going to be late. Like, that's just not an option.
There's a guarantee she's going to make it a damn sight worse.
Exactly. So it's easy for me to just pull myself together and get on with it. So, but, you know, it can be really difficult sometimes. It really can. But
so this leads me on to, we've talked about the highs. We've talked about the difficulties. Blue sky thinking, who would your dream customer be? Or you can do both. You can answer both. Okay. Dream customer and dream make.
Okay.
For them or not for them.
So, dream customer, are we talking like celebrity? Are we talking...
You can have anybody you want. Maybe somebody who's alive would be a good start.
Well, I mean, if Beyonce ate cake, I'd make her one, but I mean...
Maybe it'd have to be like gluten-free, dairy-free, air.
0 calorie.
Just fluff.
A cake made out of lettuce. But obviously I'd love Mary Berry to sample one and see what she thought.
Mary, we need you.
If you want to try some, hit me up.
You can find me at. We'll get to that bit, Mary.
But yeah, I do. Like I said, I love the corporate customers, because you kind of know what you're getting, and they're quite organised most of the time. So they'll give you notice, you know exactly how many you're making, you know exactly what you're making, and it's just normally, say, like 200 of the same thing. So it's quite nice to just know what you're doing.
What's the hardest thing to make, or that you've had to make?
The hardest thing...
Or most challenging?
The hardest thing is definitely wedding cakes when it's warm. So transporting them. So obviously last week I was taking wedding cakes through to Windermere when it was like 30 degrees, aircon on full. It's still warm. It's not fridge temperature in your car, so that is quite difficult. So maybe in the future I will have to look into getting like a refrigerated van or something, just to make it less stressful. And obviously there's times where things pull out in front of you on the road and you've got to brake.
Stop.
Just like, I'm thinking, oh my God, the cake. But it's, you know, there's been times where the top tier has fallen off in the car and I have to just get to the venue. Do
you take a little repair kit with you?
Yeah, I've got like a little tub of buttercream, spatula, and I just kind of...
Little dowels and stuff.
Whip it all back together.
For those of you that don't know or haven't been to Cumbria, our infrastructure is, what was the word I could use? Challenging at the best of times. There isn't many straight roads, and the roads that we do have in the lakes are in need of a bit of a spruce up.
Yes.
So when Amber says it's challenging sometimes at these venues, think about being on a roller coaster. And especially in winter, you might not get to the venue because it'll be closed.
Yeah. I've had to detour, I've had to go over mountain passes, you know, just to get the cake.
Sometimes you're just like, I need a helicopter.
Yeah, I know.
I need something a bit more.
I need to get in touch with someone who owns a helicopter just so they can help me out when times get hard.
We'll just have to up the venues. They'll have somebody who's got a helicopter.
They'll have a helipad.
Excuse me, I need your transportation. So, where do you see yourself in maybe 12 months' time or 5 years' time with the business? What's the dream kind of future?
So I think at some point I would like to have a premises of some kind so that I can fully separate like home life from work life.
Yeah.
Because I work from home, sometimes there isn't much of an escape. Obviously in my current house I do have 2 kitchens, so I can kind of close the door and walk away, but you are still in the same building. Yeah. So it would be nice to have a separate workplace so that I can do all my work there and then I can go home and home's just home. That would be really nice. I have thought about, you know, a potential shop of some kind. So, you know, if I continue in the way I am, that might be, you know, where I'm at in 5 years' time, which would be really nice. I don't know if I'd be able to ever take like a step back.
Or is that if you like were to employ somebody?
Yeah, I think I'd still want to be very much involved because I've literally started this from nothing.
It's your baby, isn't it?
Yeah, with no knowledge, not really knowing what I'm doing until obviously, you know, I started with TEG, and you know, I was able to get advice and, you know, more opportunities. Without them, I wouldn't have a lot of the business I've got now. So it would be nice, you know, in 5 years' time, if I could have my own premises, knowing that I started from very little, and I've got it to that stage, that would be the dream.
Awesome. So to kind of summarise everything, if there's somebody out there listening now or watching, because I keep forgetting that we are videoing as well, what advice would you give them in terms of working with TEG?
So TEG is generally just a massive confidence boost, and it's very it's like a family. It's you know, they're there for you whenever you need them. Like, I know I can message Jenny at any point and she'll reply within the hour. You know, and even on a more personal level, you know, if you've got stuff going on at home and you think, how do I deal with this whilst running my business, having that advice is just, you know, second to none. The opportunities that I've got from it have been absolutely amazing, and it's, you know, it's been a massive free marketing platform for me. You know, if I hadn't started doing this, I wouldn't have got half of the opportunities that I've had. I wouldn't have met all the people that I've met. I wouldn't have been in touch with all these different businesses now. I've got quite a lot lined up over the next couple of months that has come from things that I've done with TEG. So it's honestly, it's changed my business, because it's gone from, you know, a couple of orders a week to these huge corporate orders that are what is keeping me afloat. So I can't thank TEG enough, really.
Well, there you go. What a perfect way to say thank you. Well, Amber, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and from not knowing an awful lot about how your business evolved, how it started, I now feel that if Jenny's ever away, that I can be second work mum if I need to be.
Yeah, I've got your number now. There's no escaping.
She's got me in the book. So again, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And last thing, that because we all want to know, how do we find you? How do we get hold of you if we need a cake?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. So it's just Love at First Bite by Amber on both platforms. And from there you can either direct message me through those sites, or my mobile number and my email address are on there as well.
Excellent. Short and simple. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.